You've probably seen this conversation come up time and time again in the recent weeks as people who have never worked or only rarely worked some sort of 9-to-5 or traditional job are weighing in on if 9-to-5 is harder than streaming or if streaming is harder than a 9-to-5. Well, listen, I want to give you the perspective of somebody who's doing both of them and tell the people who are participating in this conversation who don't have that perspective to shut the hell up. With so many different ways that are paraded on the internet with making money, people are wondering, should I continue to do a 9-to-5 or should I go one of these untraditional routes? They look at the perceived freedom, the flexibility, the money that you could potentially make, and hell, honestly, the clout that you get from saying, hey, I do something non-traditional, and especially because there's such a variety of ways that people can get into the streaming game. I mean, in the recent time, we've seen that streaming has transformed from the days of people playing video games or just chatting. IRL streaming is becoming really big, being half naked on camera while streaming. A lot of people are saying to themselves, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Especially if
I do think I'll give the conversation this credit. Like, it's going both ways now, though. The romanticizing of the other side, I feel like it's starting to go both ways. Specifically when we're talking about the top content creators. Like, the top content creators, a lot of them are having discussions about, yo, I feel burnt out. Yo, my work-life balance is ass. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I wish I had more time for my family. Yo, this is affecting my health. Yo, I miss the structure and the stability of a 9-to-5, like all of these different things. Or at the very least, these are conversations that I continue to have with myself damn near every single fucking day. But yeah, right. Like a lot of 9-to-5 people who work 9-to-5s definitely look at content creation as like, yo, if I make it here, this is an escape. Like I escaped the struggle for real. When in reality, you did, but like, there's different struggles that go along with it. You know what I'm saying?
if it doesn't add any value like Myron thinks.
And that shit's harder than being a doctor, nigga. And what? All them doctors do is prescribe fucking medications, bro. But I went to the doctor for my fucking shoulder. All she tried to do was give me fucking medication. How do I fix my shoulder? If you don't know, point me in the direction to the nigga that would know. You want Tylenol? No. How do I fix my shoulder? Nigga, send me to an MRI. Why am I doing your job? God damn it, man. That shit can't be that hard, bro.
Agent. I don't see how we can say somebody like a doctor who is doing years of research, 8 years of schooling, countless hours on sick patients, helping them, curing them, or pointing them in the right direction to some sort of treatment plan is some sort of easy thing to do. Now, I get it. I don't want to take this away from agent or anybody's individualistic experience, because sometimes it doesn't feel like the right treatment plan. And ultimately, you come up with your own treatment plan that may work better than what the doctor may have prescribed you. Hey, I'm a proponent of you know your body better than anybody else. But
doctors get paid to make really high-risk decisions, right? But that also doesn't mean that every decision is a high-risk decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going for a cold, right? Like, you want to get your cold checked out, just make sure it's nothing, more than a cold. And the doctor diagnoses you and looks at your symptoms and, has the proper knowledge to say, yo, that, it's nothing crazy. You don't have cancer. It is just a cold. I'm gonna prescribe you cough medicine. Like, even though that whole, process isn't necessarily the most complicated thing in the world, like, having that knowledge is like, that's pretty fucking important. But also, even if that is like the easy side of things, they get paid to make the really hard decisions, right? Like, life or death ass decisions, prescribing you medication that has, crazy side effects. You know what I'm saying? Doing surgical procedures that are life and death and things of that nature. So, y'all surprised somebody born from Ethiopia hating on Western medicine? Oh my God. Is that a thing? Do Ethiopians not like Western medicine?
Now that negates the fact that the doctor's job is hard. Now, I don't want to dig too deep on agent's individualistic situation. We want to tackle the real meat and potatoes. Is streaming harder than a 9-to-5? No. I think people involved in this conversation have their own sort of bias. So I think that's why my perspective is just a little bit different as somebody who is actively working a 9-to-5 and somebody who also streams / makes content at the same time. And trust me when I say this, if you scan the majority of Twitch, Kick, Rumble, any streaming platform, a lot of the content is low lift. Think about about it. Reactionary content isn't the hardest thing in the world. Having somebody else create the content for you to give your simplistic opinion on, I don't see anything difficult about that. Playing video games on streams, I don't see anything difficult about that. Or hell, just doing IRL streams where you're walking around living your day-to-day life. I don't see anything hard about that. Now, when we talk about this 1% of streamers who are actually putting in 8 to 15 hours a day, who are doing these extra extravagant streams like a Kai Cenat, like a iShowSpeed, where they are mixing in IRL elements, where they are mixing in scripted out content into their streams, or just living a zany, wacky life that'll have them traveling for hours on end, then yes, I could say that streaming can be extremely hard, and I won't take that away from them. But we've got to think about that. How many streamers actually fit into that category? Another portion of this conversation that people don't really understand is they don't even know what all the 9-to-5s are, but we have a pretty good grasp of what all the potential streams are.
You have easy jobs. What would you consider an easy job? Cashier. Okay, let's say cashier. Then you have a hard job. What's a hard job? I think off the top of my head, like a Secret Service agent.
See, this is something that I've learned since I've graduated college and have stepped out into the real world. A lot of people don't know about...
You talking to you, souls? What you mean? What that mean? No,
any jobs that aren't front facing. And what I mean by that is the things that get the world running that are done behind the scenes that most people don't know about. Do you think that Amazon packages just go from facility to facility? No, there are logistics centers that are open 24 hours a day that people work 14 or 12 or 10 hour shifts on a daily basis. But you don't see stuff like that. You're only gonna see stuff when you go into the stores, buy the product and deal with the cashier. But that's why you...
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, my girl works a customer facing job right now, bro. And yeah, the story she tells me about how the shitty ass people she has to deal with, and she just gotta put a smile on her face because it's her fucking job. It's her job to be cordial with these people. It's her job to be professional with these people. And she's primarily worked jobs like this in her life. And me sitting from the seat that I'm at, literally, where, you know, I do get to work at home. I get to control my own hours. And like the confrontation I have to deal with is on the internet. The most it's ever gotten to was at the end of the day a fucking StreamYard call, right? That I can just, hey, I'm done with this conversation. I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bed type shit. But my majority of it is, you know, just comments, like text comments that I can just scroll past. There's levels to it, bro. Like the story she's told me about shitty ass people having shitty ass days or having shitty ass situations, and then they take it out on her. It's crazy. It's crazy. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. This may sound crazy to y'all, but it is a part of the motivation as to like why I want to keep doing content creation is because I don't want to get to a point where I'm forced to do a job like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you think the jobs are easy. Right now,
I don't know if that's crazy
because I'm working 14-hour shifts in a distribution center, and I can tell
just
you
keeps
for
me
a
humble.
fact, lifting
Just keeps
those
me humble.
boxes is not easy. And I ultimately think that there are different struggles within all these jobs that most people can't even contextualize because they really can't see or understand these jobs. Another reason is that they're just too young. Blackboy Max put out a tweet that was talking about streaming being so much harder than all these other jobs, and thought to myself two things. One, what would Max classify as a regular job? And two, Max is 21 years old. That would be somebody who is just about getting ready to get up out of college, right? So the only jobs that person would be qualified for would be what people would consider easy jobs, even though those were laborious and tedious and all those things. But they never get to the level of getting into corporate life or working at distribution centers in a big meaningful way, being up the corporate ladder or these different scales, so they don't know the complexities that those jobs have. So while
I think the reason why a lot of people have this take though is because for a majority of the time that a lot of your content creators have been doing content, they were doing a lot of work for nothing. Like, I'm gonna keep it a whole stack. Yes, there was a bigger goal, right? But a lot of us were streaming to 2-3 viewers on a good day, right? Like, a lot of us were making consistent ass videos, learn the process of recording, learn the process of editing a video, learn the process of making a title and a thumbnail. You know, having high hopes for a video, for that video to end up only getting 30 views, right? So shit like that compared to, okay, I get a job. Yes, I have a boss. Yes, I have to deal with shitty people. However, like, I have a rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have, I work these amount of hours, I get paid this amount, right? There's benefits along with a lot of these jobs as well, right? Like, streamers don't have that shit. And I will say, like, it is extremely hard to grow as a streamer to a full-time, as a content creator to a full-time status, right? The conversation changes a little bit when we're talking about people who are doing it full-time and people who are doing shit part-time, right? Because a part-time streamer that's, streaming fucking, I don't know, once a week, not really structuring anything, literally just doing it for fun. Obviously, that can't be harder than a 9 to 5. But when the scope of everything changes to, okay, I'm doing all of this work to make a living and for this to be my job without the job security that a lot of these jobs have, then there is that level of, man, this shit is hard. And also, I'll maintain this point. Y'all can say streaming is easy. Y'all can say making content creator is easy. Oh, motherfuckers are just talking in front of a camera. Bro, go do it yourself. If it's that easy, go do it yourself. If it's that easy to you, why wouldn't you do a job where you can make more money and do less work? The mic's right here, bro. The mic's right here. Yo, talk to it. Go. Entertain the people. Entertain the people. Keep them hooked. Script out a video properly. All of these different things. Now, let me clarify. You can get all of that off without downplaying 9 to 5s. That has always been my take when it comes to all of this, is that, we can talk about how hard streaming is. We can talk about how, there's a lot of things people don't consider when it comes to being a content creator, being a streaming, that you just don't know because you haven't been in that position. It also goes vice versa. But also, we could just keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can just keep it like that. Streaming is harder than what meets the eye. There is a lot of legwork that goes into a stream, right? It is mentally taxing to entertain people. Socially taxing to entertain people. Like, I know Hassan was getting flack for that when he said it, but it is true, bro. You try streaming for 4 to 5 hours and act like you're not tired after it. Just do it. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
They may have the full spectrum of what a streamer is. They've been at the bottom, they work to the middle, and now they're at the top. They don't know what the spectrum is for somebody that's working a job.
Streaming is a harder job than a regular 9 to 5. Say a streamer has a bad day on stream, right? They can just end their stream. But if you're in retail and customer service, we can't walk away from the customer. Yeah. I see streamers who do the most simplest thing and get 200 viewers, and I'm not gonna say that's like working hard. If you're like Asmongold, you like plan out your streams heavily, then okay, yeah, maybe it's a little more taxing.
If they are really getting just as many views as somebody that's doing educated or more difficult content, that means that they have something different to offer than just intelligence. Maybe it's charisma. Put Charlie next to Ludwig. They're both really smart, but Charlie tends to lean more into informative content. Ludwig will sit and watch TikToks and get the same amount of viewers. Does that make that one more important or harder? No.
A big portion in the conversation about is streaming harder than a 9 to 5 is the whole concept that you have to be charismatic, energetic, and have that je ne sais quoi in order to attract viewers to you. And I know that they don't know this, but this also exists in the world of 9 to 5s. In order for you to get some sort of employment or level up on the scale as to where you are in your life career-wise, you have to be charismatic. You have to put on your show and put on a face and entertain people on a daily basis, or you'll fall out of grace in their favor. It's more than just your technical abilities or skills. Sure, I might be the best coder in the world. I'm here to tell you that the people that are at the top of these totem poles aren't necessarily the best. Your soft skills go a long way. Elements that are in play for both streaming and 9 to 5s aren't talked about because people want to side on their argument to make it seem like their life is just so much harder.
Content creation is harder than your 9 to 5. You really don't know how much hard work goes into creating multiple videos a day.
Now, this guy right here, after I found out his TikTok, he was actually baiting though. I ain't gonna lie. This guy was actually baiting. He was He was the OG clip farmer of this fucking topic, low-key.
Being constantly creative with new video ideas, trying to make footage look good, getting new shots, taking many takes over and over, it can get to be a lot. So yeah, I'm tired.
Now don't get me wrong, I do get tired from creating content. The multiple takes kill me sometimes, and the fact that I have to do stuff that sometimes I don't have the energy to do because I was doing something else later in the day is very prevalent in this industry. But that also exists in the life of a 9-to-5. If we're talking about people that make big, expansive pieces of work or stuff that does take in real life action that is vigorous and very draining on you, then for sure, I think that I would classify that as harder than a lot of 9-to-5s. But sometimes that only makes up some of what they do. I think when Kai does IRL stuff, yeah, that's definitely harder than a 9-to-5. But when he's reacting to somebody's video, I can't think that that's harder than being like a middle school teacher. I think job volatility is something that the entertainment industry has always suffered with, especially when you're at the top of your game. You get hit with these golden handcuffs, whether it be from the likes, the views, the clicks, or from the money that you're actually making. And then once that fall off comes, you don't know what to do, so you start pivoting left, right, and sideways, as opposed to people that are like police officers who could have as many open cases as they want and nothing happened to them due to like qualified immunity. Yeah, there's definitely a case that says job security and job volatility is much crazier and much lower for the security part when it comes to the content creation side than it is for the 9-to-5 side.
Yeah. And I do think that's a big point as to, again, why streamers are getting these takes off is, like, again, police officers don't have to worry about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, they still have to worry about being fired and these different things. But for the most part, like, motherfuckers, there will be someone to pick you up. There will be a job somewhere. For you as a content creator, if you do fall off, it is all on you. You know what I'm saying? You are self-employed. You are a grown-ass man, like a lot of us, grown-ass men and women. So if you fall off, you better have had the backup plan. You know what I'm saying? You better know what the consequences of all of this were. So there were literally massive layoffs a couple years ago, but go off. Again, I literally just said that 9-to-5 people also have to deal with job security. I did not say that they don't have to deal with job security at all. And I will say during that time span where people were getting laid off, I was actually blessed to be in a position where you can't lay me off. I'm fucking self-employed. However, again, like when a content creator loses their numbers, when a content creator doesn't make enough as money as they're used to making, unless you pivot for real to going to a 9-to-5, like there is no, oh, I'm gonna just apply somewhere else. That doesn't really exist. I'm gonna just apply somewhere else. No. Especially for people who work for content creators too. Yeah, technically you can apply for somewhere else, but the amount of people that make enough money to pay you a livable wage for real is not a lot. And a lot of the people and a lot of the content creators who can probably are already paying people and aren't hiring. So
it's harder than a regular job. Not saying that this is easy, but it's not easier than a nigga having to wake up on somebody else's schedule. I'm not gonna lie, I used to think that it was harder than having a job. I used to. A hard worker is a hard worker. So if you're a hard worker as a streamer, I do think it's equivalent to you being a hard worker at a job. You put in the hours, you create the content, you pay for the content, you sit there, you do your thing, but not easier than a regular job.
Streaming harder than a real job? Bro, what? Before I was a streamer, I saw a YouTuber say like, man, y'all just don't understand. This is more difficult than just normal 9-to-5. Well, guess what, chat? I am in the position and I can sit here and tell you it's not even close to as hard as a real job. I ain't about to sit here and tell y'all like, oh man, I'll be working hard. Bro, I don't. But I sit here and stream every day. You know what I get to do for a living, bro? I get to hang out with my people 4 hours a day, bro. I wake up at like 2 p.m. every day, get up, don't do nothing all day, and I sit here and stream, bro.
Streaming is not harder than a 9-to-5. Streaming is a hobby that you looked up and you made it your career. Making content is a hobby, something you do on your fucking free time.
Shout out to Lincoln Low for the sub, man. Appreciate you.
Get up and go to work when somebody else say so. Get off work when somebody else say so. You gotta ask somebody else if you can relax. I be dead ass super grateful. I be telling y'all I appreciate y'all a lot, what real fucking life is.
I appreciate someone like Duke's perspective in this conversation because we know from his military background that he at least has some wherewithal or understanding as to what it takes to work what a lot of people would consider a real job. And as much as he talked about how easy the job may have been in the military, he might have been sitting behind a desk, it's the fact that you are still under someone's control, as opposed to when you are streaming or creating content. There is specifically a certain level where if you do not post, then you have a level of freedom that cannot come from having a 9-to-5 job. And I'm not going to say that some 9-to-5 jobs don't come with some level of freedom, some level of job security, some level of flexibility, but there is a totally different level between doing that and having to put in your hours, submit your time, call somebody, and not cutting your camera on because you just don't feel like it for the next 3 days. If I didn't show up for 3 days, I wouldn't have a job, period.
I cannot believe working a 9-to-5 is real life. The task that I was just asked to do, I don't even want to explain it because I'm embarrassed to say that this is what I do for a living.
But correct. I genuinely want to have this question for y'all, like a discussion about it. Does not does it make it harder than a 9-to-5? But y'all don't think there's a level of difficulty when it comes to being a content creator when like tomorrow no one is forcing you to go to work? Like obviously, technically, no one is forcing you to go to work at a 9-to-5 too. But like you truly have the option to take the day off. Long story short, what I've experienced from a lot of content creators is a lack of discipline. Like the best content creators that you see, they are disciplined. They show up to work. It is so easy to just take 2 to 3 weeks off because I just don't feel like making a fucking video. Like it is, especially in the beginning. It is so easy to just, I don't feel like streaming today. I'm gonna stream tomorrow. And then tomorrow turns into tomorrow, and y'all know how that cycle works. You know what I'm saying? So I think having discipline is a hard thing to do, in my opinion, especially in today's world. But
I'm going to tell you for a laugh, you know the abbreviated like months, like OCT? I'm having to write out October and make that standard across a lot of fucking verbiage. Like, wow, this is how we're supposed to be successful in life? By working for someone else's success, first of all, and then doing stupid ass tasks that make me feel like a literal piece of shit, because how am I having an impact in the world? No one knows that I'm doing this. I'm sitting behind my computer typing. I'm doing absolutely nothing to help others.
And trust me, I think that there are elements of 9-to-5 work that are what we would consider easy. But I think what's troubling to me is the fact that how easy can get rewarded in the content creation sphere versus how easy is looked at in the 9-to-5 sphere. I think a lot of people see easy work and say that they could do something that's much harder or much more rewarding and then reap the benefits from it. But where I think that they turn and get nasty is the fact that they take that and then turn it on its head and shit on the regular 9-to-5 working class. And it's only because they crave the things that the entrepreneurship lifestyle has to offer, supposedly, but they don't really realize the grind that actually comes into the entrepreneur lifestyle.
What if your husband or whoever didn't aspire to be a boss and they said, I like my $80,000 a year job or $50,000 a year job, like I get fulfillment for this. I love what I do every day. I come home happy. I go to work happy. I want to go to work. What's the problem with that? He gotta want to be a boss?
there is no problem.
I think me personally, for my husband, I wouldn't want a husband that way.
Why?
But that's just me.
So you don't want a happy person. You would rather him want to be a boss and deal with a bunch of whatever that he don't even want to deal with than to love his job and go to work and say, I love my job.
But that's what I would like. That's what I'm attracted to. That's what I want to see in a man.
Why
This
though?
story is about two people seeing two different perspectives and have a limiting view on both of them. Sure, it sounds cool to have a boss, husband that's a CEO, etc., until you get into that life where he's missing out on calls, birthdays, celebrations, anniversaries.
Yo, shout out to Tuka for gifting Omar sub, man. Appreciate you.
First reason nights in your bed because he's doing boss-like things. And sure, streaming may seem tiresome and difficult and unfulfilling until you're in somebody's warehouse lifting boxes for the past 15 hours and not getting shit done creatively, and honestly your brain is rotting from the inside out. I'm speaking from personal experience. I'd like to say I don't know why these people are craving the entrepreneurship lifestyle, but it's ultimately because it's been portrayed as this most fabulous thing on the internet. But these are from people who don't have any experience in it and don't know how damning it can be.
Somehow society has told us that working a 9-to-5 is the worst thing that you can do, which is ridiculous. the odds are you will have to work a 9 to 5 to support yourself. And that's okay. That doesn't make you a failure. That doesn't mean your life will be miserable. That doesn't mean you'll never be able to be rich one day. Learning in industry is the best way to actually eventually be able to start a company.
Really, the route for entrepreneurship is truly not for everyone. You don't make a lot of money in the beginning. You sacrifice crazy, make people mad at you because you can't be at these events or these functions. You're gonna miss out on a lot of good times, family times, etc., until that one day, hopefully you get lucky, strike gold, and then you've made it to this promised land where you are making good, solid money on content creation. And everybody's number for good, solid money is totally different, so I don't want to put a number on that. But then what people don't realize is that you have to maintain that for a lot of years in your life that most people don't get to see. We often talk about people who don't use their degrees when they go to college and get a job, but we never talk about the content creators who made it big, were only lasting for a couple years, and then have fallen off a cliff. Those people have money problems as well, even though they got a lot of money in this content creation game. Look at Boogie. Boogie was one of the biggest content.
Yeah, no, there's too much romanticization going on within the entrepreneurial. Oh my God, I can't speak. What I'm trying to get off is motherfuckers are gassing up being an entrepreneur and a content creator way too much these days. And I do feel like that is a part of the root as to why, again, motherfuckers are trying to get off this. Streaming is harder than a 9 to 5 take. Again, it's a L take because you could have got it off without comparing to a 9 to 5. But yeah, nah, like you, there is no incentive for you to hear about the struggles about being a YouTuber, being an entrepreneur. Do I think it's important? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important to know what you're getting yourself into and not for motherfuckers to just tell you, oh, everything's all fine and dandy. Everything's easy. It is the shortcut in life, you know? But yeah, no, there's a lot of things within the content sphere that, like, it's not, it really isn't as easy as you think it is. It really isn't. It really isn't.
Creators on the platform, and all of that stuff went up and went straight down to the toilet.
Since 2018, Boogie2988's career has been in a YouTube death spiral. The main reason is his Mr. Rogers mask slipping, revealing his true persona of an awful, manipulative person. October 2022 was when Boogie entered financial hell. Boogie uploaded a video stating how he had become broke due to losing all his money in the crypto market, begging his audience for donations due to his reckless decision.
And even content creators like Gento from the 2K days. A lot of
Ooh. Yeah, nah. Gento should have been a wake-up call for a lot of content creators, man. Cause that motherfucker grinded up to 1 million subscribers. And the way he fell off, what is his backup plan type shit? Like that's definitely one of the cases where you should look at it and say, yo, this is a plausible reality for you. If you decide to get into content creation, it just is. And even though you're on your high right now, even though, bro, I just reached 100,000 subscribers. Bro, I just made 20,000 bands this month. Or 20 bands this month. My lifestyle ain't never gonna change. I'm him. I'm one of them ones. Yeah, Gento at one point probably thought he was one of them ones too. Probably thought he was him too. And, you know, shit like this happens. Or it even doesn't have to be that drastic. You know what I'm saying? It could be something as, bro, you know, at your peak, you were used to making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, maybe even $500,000, right? Lifestyle crept up. You moved to LA. Your rent is, you know, $10,000 a month. You go to Erewhon for your fucking groceries. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 kids. You got a wife now. You know. You got a M4 in your garage, all of these different things. Your numbers start falling off, right? You're now making, I don't know, $7,000, $8,000 a month. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? For the lifestyle that you got in LA, is $7,000, $8,000 enough to keep that lifestyle up? So what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? All of these different things are very realistic, plausible scenarios to be in as a content creator, bro.
There's like Gento from the 2K days. A lot of great content, a lot of great money, and now he's doing rap verses in a U-Haul trailer. The instability of entrepreneurship is not all it's cracked up to be. And that's something that people don't talk about. No, I don't think it necessarily makes it harder because everything comes with its challenges. I just ultimately think that it's something that shouldn't be romanticized. Because there are a lot of people out there who go into the entrepreneurship lane and then end up back at a 9-to-5 anyway.
I just started a job on the 1st of March, okay? Every morning, they come in my office and be like, whew, you still here? And I be like, girl, where I'm going? Like, this is my second week. Like, girl, you can't quit. They were like, we just don't know why you here. Baby, because it's a job and we got bills. And sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Yep, I have my master's in mental health counseling. I have my master's in management. And yet and still I am making nowhere near what I should be making. And sometimes, you know, you may have to just take something to stay afloat. I have no problem jumping back into the work field and working a 9-to-5.
Interestingly enough, I think Phantom put probably the best perspective on this whole conversation, period, point blank.
Streaming is hard. Streaming can be hard. Streaming can also be easy. It depends the type of streamer you are. Can jobs be hard? Facts. But can jobs also be easy? Facts. You can have an easy job.
Yeah, all of this is ultimately just a overgeneralization of both parts. You know, so every month you have a new floor that's lower than the last. Oh, what the fuck? That floor becomes a ceiling. Negative sub months. Every month you have a new floor that's lower than the last. Okay.
You literally set the difficulty on this shit.
Look, I'm 28 years old, and I know that makes me unk status, but I've probably had upwards of 15 jobs in my lifetime. Some of them were easier than the other ones, some of them were harder than the other ones, and some of them came with the benefits and rewards of working harder, some of them didn't, and that's just what the job called for. Ultimately, they all had their own mental stress and their mental anguish that came with them. And only up until recently did I find an outlet, which was content creation, which I think, like a lot of people said in this video, it's more of a hobby that people got lucky into and decided this is gonna be the thing that makes my career. No, I don't think it's easy. Cutting on this camera, to do this video, a podcast, the interview, etc., there's nothing to it but to do it, to be honest with you. But right now, as I sit in this chair, coming off of a 14-hour shift in a warehouse where I was having to move heavy automotive parts around a warehouse all day, I can guarantee you that streaming is not harder than a 9-to-5.
Yeah, nah, I agree. Whatchamacallit? First of all, W video. I see that team in the chat. I see the team in the chat. The more and more I think about like what I want to do, cause hey, I am 24. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be 30. I ain't gonna lie, man. I think my ideal life situation, chat, is to have that stable 9-to-5 that I enjoy. And then content creation becomes this thing that's just an add-on to life. Like that becomes a bonus. Cause I feel like at that point, bro, all right, you got your 9-to-5, you clock in, you make your money, you provide for your family, all of these different things. And then you get off, you're doing content for fun. So that takes the stress of, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta pay the bills, I gotta make this video even though I don't want to, all of these different things. But like still be successful enough to add on just $2,000-$3,000 a month to how much money we make. You know what I'm saying? Like those $2,000-$3,000 could mean a lot.